Hello and welcome everybody. I'm Matt from MTG Gaming Bob. This week I've got the third week of our Sefris of the Hidden Ways EDH Budget League. This is the Jake and Joel Are Magic's league that they do every month. You can join the Discord if you're interested. I can leave a link down in the description if you're wanting to join up. Free to play, and they actually have some prizes that are sponsored from Dragon Shield and themselves as well. It's a pretty fun league actually, so if you're interested, check it out. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So anyways, let's get into it. So this is the week 3, so it's a $200 budget. And what we've got here is a few removals of some creatures and some added in some pretty mean creatures. I decided that I want to make this more less of a venture, still venturing, but less of a venturing, a little bit more focus on Reanimator style. So I might do a little bit more tinkering. We've got a little bit of time, but this is kind of what I've landed on at the moment. So what I've done is I've removed Hama. That was the one that triggers the rooms more than once. It doesn't really do much good if I'm planning to blow through the dungeons as fast as possible to keep reanimating things. So not really. The ones that I'm going through, I'm probably not going to really care too much about having her in the Hama. I dropped one land. It was at 39. I went down to 38. So we're at 38 lands now. I added back in Swords to Plowshare, removing Solemn Simulacrum. I talked about that last week. And added in Elish Norn, Toxrill, the Corrosive, and Shieldred. These three are very, very strong things. Elish Norn, other creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. Your creatures get +2/+2. And it's a 4/7 Vigilance body. It's just, it's a sort of board wipe depending, but it's also such a big power swing. I mean, it shrinks all of their creatures and grows all of yours. It's a big power swing between whatever's on the board, and she's pretty oppressive. Toxrill is probably the best addition to the deck. I hate this version of the card. Let me swap the version. It's just busy and kind of looks crappy, to be quite honest. I normally like those versions, but that one just bleh. So anyways, Toxrill the Corrosive, 7 mana for a 7/7. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Every end step, not just your own, 4 end steps, you know. So creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Another thing that's interesting to point out is that they're not -1/-1 counters. They are slime counters, meaning they don't cancel -1/-1 counters, which is very interesting because if Toxrill goes away, those -1s, all the negatives don't apply. They're just slime counters. However, it's nice because it doesn't remove counters. For things like Persist or other mechanics that rely on counters being removed, you don't have to worry about it. Now, obviously, there's a negative to where you can't like negate some of the negative counters on some of their creatures if you want to like prevent them from doubling or whatever. But either way, they're gonna shrink probably faster than they're gonna be able to grow them if Toxrill doesn't get removed. Because every end step you get those slime counters on each creature, and also whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, you create a 1/1 black slug creature token. You can pay a blue and a black, sacrifice a slug, and draw a card. So the thing that's interesting about this is obviously it's strong, it's board removal, and it's insane. It's actually pretty nutty. I've played it in my group of friends on Thursday, and they did not like it very much. It's a very impressive card. But it is a fun card because you get to draw some cards, you get to, wipe the board, you get to get a bunch of slugs that you can, It sucks that you can't sack the tokens for Sefris because it says creature cards on Sefris specifically. Whenever one or more creature cards, and I guess tokens, they're not considered cards, so I don't know if this was intentionally worded that tokens don't work. Maybe it was, but it kind of makes them not as good, but it's still obviously insane. Toxrill, that is. And of course Sefris a little bit. But anyways, Toxrill is a monster, so he definitely needed to go in. And then Shieldred, the Whispering one, because I went more of a Reanimator style deck, I decided that I wanted to add in a card that has some removal on it, has some reanimation on it, and overall that's what this does. And it has Swamp Walk. You'd be surprised in how many people play swamps, so that's not too much that's not that's something to overlook, is what I'm trying to say. So those are the main big creatures that I added in kind of transitioning this more and more to a Reanimator style deck. With it being $199.89, it's right at that $200 limit. And maybe I'll start removing some of the smaller creatures and adding in more beefy things and more ways to draw ditch. I don't know. But at the moment, that's what I've decided to do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I added in. Like I said, I already covered the... Oh, Faithful Mending. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last week's video, but Faithful Mending was another one that I added the first week that I actually played the deck. Faithful Mending is amazing. Just 2 mana to draw 2, or gain 2, draw 2, ditch 2. All of things we want to do in the deck, and then it has flashback, which is fantastic. Even if you mill it, it's you know, it's great. I did remove Wayfarer's Bauble. None of this changed, and I think I upgraded the mana base. Yeah, I added Shipwreck Marsh. I added in. I think I want to start taking out the bounce lands. I don't really like the bounce lands, to be quite honest. Maybe they'll come out before the next week. We still haven't had pairings for week 3, but I'm in a good position right now for pairings. If I look at my point total, I can actually see here March seasons. So, where are we? Standings after week 1. Standings. Oh, they're not up yet. Well, last week I got 1.5 points, and this week I got 4.5. So I'll be at 6, and that means I probably should be at least in the middle, maybe closer towards the top, depending on what all happened. But yeah, the deck is actually really fun. There's a lot of things that I'm learning the more and more I play it. And Radiant Solar, where's she at? Radiant Solar, super good in the deck, especially if you're trying to reanimate. You can reanimate so quickly by discarding Radiant Solar on another person's turn. It's 2 triggers, so it like kind of comes out of nowhere. They don't really think that it's going to happen, and being able to reanimate into Archon of Cruelty, also monster, insane. So these are all great things. So yeah, that's kind of what's going to happen. I'll probably start looking into more and more reanimation things if I can. There's a lot of reanimating into it, but I kind of want to find a way to like draw ditch more. And that will be maybe what I focus on. Maybe find a way to ramp a little bit more. I mean, Esper doesn't have a ton of ways to ramp, but I'm only running 2 mana rocks. Pretty light. So, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to write them in the comments below. If you liked the video, like the video. And if you didn't like it, dislike the video. And tell me why. And make sure to share and subscribe. Thanks, everybody, for watching.